Hello, welcome back to Healthy Futures Milford. I'm Lisa Vassell with For Better Health and the Healthy Futures of Milford Group. And today I have Josette, my wonderful assistant here today from Get Josette. Why don't you tell everybody where you are and what you do?
Well, thank you for having me here, first of all. I have a studio in Medway. It's Get Josette Studio, where I offer classes and nutrition classes as well. I've been a fitness instructor for over 10 years, but my biggest frustration was the nutrition component. And I also wrote a book, Frumpy to Fabulous. I was the frumpy girl. I was the girl who was really heavy my entire life. And it wasn't until after I had my 4 kids that I discovered the truth of eating real food. So it's great to be with like-minded people. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, and that's what we're going to talk about today. Because
Yes.
you and I had a conversation a while back about our, of course, the whole food thing. I know one of your logos is you can't out-eat a bad diet. Out-train a bad diet,
Correct.
excuse me. And that's fantastic because what we're going to talk about today is the cost of food. Because so many of our clients tell us eating healthy is too expensive.
Aye.
So we went on some shopping trips.
Little field trip.
Little field trips. And with the help of your wonderful intern.
Yes.
And we priced a lot of different food, and we thought we would show you today how you can truly save money and calories and actually have nutrients go into your body, because without nutrients you can't build a healthy body. Whether that be losing weight, building muscle, but also for me, my passion being that of reversing and preventing chronic conditions, whether that be cholesterol, diabetes, heart disease, and now Alzheimer we know is type 3 diabetes, and then all the autoimmunity and all of those other things. With the flu season coming up, you need to have nutrients to be able to fight all that off.
Absolutely.
So we thought we would start with, we're going to call this myth busting. Eating healthy is too expensive. The first thing we thought we went and bought was this 12-pack of seltzer water. Compared to the large coffee from one of the fast food donut shops in town, and it is exactly the same price. So if you're going to exchange cost-wise, a healthy 12-pack of water would be a better.
Oh, absolutely. And especially when these coffee drinks are more like milkshakes than actually drinking coffee. I mean, let's be honest.
It's depending upon what you're putting in
Yes.
it. Absolutely. And usually it's not just the coffee.
No, exactly. Very rarely do you see someone drink black coffee these days.
Yeah. So then we thought we would move on to the snack, the mid-morning snack or mid-afternoon snack. So the mid-afternoon snack or the mid-morning snack is usually that crash of sugar that many of us have, and the reason that they're having that is because they're probably not building the first thing in the morning. Correct. But one of the great things that you can do is compare a bag of chips to a bag of nuts, which comparatively they have the same size servings. One thing that a lot of people don't stick to, we've talked about, is the actual serving size. And those two things there were about $4.50 for the cost of both of those.
And when you think about it, when you have a bag of chips, or a serving of chips, it's not going to satisfy you, and it's definitely not nutrient dense. But with a handful of nuts, it goes a long way. It really does.
Absolutely.
So what a great switch right there.
Absolutely. I'm going to have you explain the next one.
Yes, we have a 12-pack of a popular soda, which is comparable to some chicken, carrots, bananas, and a pepper, which I can tell you right now, I could whip up a great dish right now for my family of 4 versus a 12-pack of soda, which has been, whether it's a diet or the regular sugar-filled, has been proven either of them just to be so horrible for your health, not satisfying at all. So many people think, oh, I'm going to drink a diet soda to suppress my appetite, and it usually ends up backfiring.
It does. There's actually research to show that it slows down some of the process of the way that the liver processes sugar, and the way that the brain connects to it, it actually makes you crave more carbohydrates and sugar. So even though you're thinking you're replacing something to still have the fizz, still have the taste, you're really actually with those artificial sweeteners potentially doing damage.
So many that I've been able to help my clients switch off from their diet sodas, all of a sudden their chronic pain and their headaches are gone. Mm-hmm. And I tell them it's not a coincidence. Mm-hmm. It really is definitely listening to your body there.
And price-wise, this priced out to about $8. It may be a little bit cheaper. Obviously, you can get them on sale, but I priced that at about $8. So maybe $1 or $2 more than what you're going to buy.
Wonderful. Move on to the next one.
We have some fast food. This is the one that's easier for, I have a lot of people, and I think that you and I have talked about this, that have the complaint of just not enough time.
Fast, quick, and easy. They want everything now, now, now.
And some of that time coming from the evening schedules. What is your experience with that?
Yes, everyone's in a rush after school to get their kids off to activities, or parents are working 2 jobs, and they just don't have time, so they go with the quick and easy.
Or the takeout.
Yeah, or the takeout, correct. And I tell people all the time, I love my crock pot, and I also love to feed leftovers as well. And my solution in my family, because I have a blended family with 6 kids, is I feed my kids dinner when they come home from school, when they're really very hungry, and they're gonna eat much better than if they're filled with snacks, and then they leave half their dinner. That drives me nuts.
That is a great
idea. I
idea.
nipped that at the bud about 10 years ago, and it's been very wonderful solution there. Less chaotic later in the evening too.
And so for this, I mean, you're looking at probably it says it feeds, serving size, it says it feeds 9, but I'm guessing not. So if you have the fries and the chicken, plus all of this. So this meal here, you could create quite a great nourishing meal loaded with nutrients, and together the cost was about $11 for both. All combined was about $11.
That is awesome. I was just thinking, I had just thought of 2 meals, chili or even a stir fry, two totally different meals that you can have at the same price, versus now you're limiting yourself to just eating.
And one thing I want to say is that you don't have to have breakfast for breakfast. I have a lot of people that buy, whether it be takeout or really expensive bagels and things that are, we know, increasing, unfortunately, that carb load and those carb cravings, and of course the waistline and diabetes. So with this, you could actually make a delicious, throw an egg with those veggies and a little bit of turkey, and you've got yourself an incredible breakfast as well.
Absolutely, sounds delicious. What a great option there, where you can cook it ahead of time too, or throw it in your crock pot.
Absolutely.
And it's just as quick as something that someone would make the excuse of having us in the freezer.
Yep. And the last one's a doozy. This one's really fun. So, I'll have you bring that down.
Potatoes.
We have potatoes, hamburger. I figured you could put this, which I don't know about you, but when I buy these kind of containers, it seems like the lettuce actually multiplies in there.
That's so true.
So, and it's fresh because they know that they package it. So I figured you could either cook these up, or you could add them into the lettuce with the cucumber and make a huge salad.
Oh, yes.
And then what I love to do for my kids is to actually add a couple apples into a salad. Gives it a little bit of sweetness and a little bit of fun.
Yes.
But then you have a bunch of apples left over. Push this up so he can see it.
Yes.
For your desserts and snacks, plus rice, rice mix if you'd rather do that with the veggies and make like a stir fry, and then your almond milk, because so many people think that almond milk is expensive, but we found that this was actually, what is it, 20 cents cheaper than a gallon of milk.
Yes.
And of course you're going to get a lot more nutrients, and for those people that are lactose intolerant, a lot of my clients have, whether they feel like they are, they take dairy out and they have quite a bit of
whether they know it or not.
Inflammation goes way down. And so this actually is equivalent to, this was 4 hamburgers already ready made, plus I got the $2 off, which I thought was fantastic. This together was $21.89. Okay.
Wow.
So you can definitely make a huge meal, if not a couple meals, because your potatoes and your apples will be extra. But guess what this compares to?
I wonder.
This would compare to a takeout meal for 4.
Wow, like the drive-through?
The drive-through.
Yes, yes.
So I like to say, if you're getting your food through the window, it's not good for us.
I say that as well. It's not food.
It's not food. It may settle your belly. It might fill a hole for a second, but you're not going to have leftovers, and you're probably going to feel tired, if not a little bit of nausea, and then you're just going to feel guilt, right? So the whole thing about eating has that cycle of eat, guilt, eat, guilt, eat, guilt, and that doesn't make anyone healthy, whether it be
And it's created a lot of distress, and I think we've gotten to the point where there is so much sabotage when you eat something and feel guilt, and food shouldn't be about that. Food should be about nourishment.
Absolutely, it's gas in your tank. You can't get places, you can't think, you can't build muscle, you can't sleep well, you know, even settle through hard things at work. All of those things require nutrients, especially our immune system. And I like to think with the whole sabotage thing about if you drop your cell phone, in other words, I had candy, so forget it. You're not going to step on the cell phone and stomp on the cell phone. So why do people have that sabotage when there's an obstacle? There's going to be obstacles. We're all going to stumble, but to be able to go out and purchase this, prepare it ahead of time, as you've said, and then instead of going through the drive-through.
Absolutely. And I think people just get overwhelmed at the thought of making all of these changes at once.
I agree. One thing at a time.
One thing at a time. Maybe that's how I did it. On a Sunday night, I just would circle my Sunday, and I've just made one change a week. And to this day, 10 years later, it's a journey.
It's cumulative.
You make changes. If the body is dynamic, things that weren't intolerant to, and all of a sudden you don't feel so good eating them anymore, and then you change your diet. And it is a journey. And so don't think that we can do all of this overnight, but definitely introduce it slowly. And then with the kids too, I think that's a challenge as well when you're trying to change their eating habits. Because for some reason, even with my kids, I can tell you that when they come home and they open the pantry, there's nothing to eat. And I go, well, go open the fridge. That's where the food is. It's in the fridge.
I just spent $300 on groceries.
But they were so used to having everything come in a cellophane bag. And so it's been a slow transition. And it's worked. It's still work at times. But now they've learned, like, okay, yes, it is in the fridge. And you know, every once in a while they have a treat. But I've changed the treats. And it's about educating them. We need to really educate them because this whole generation is not getting the proper education.
Well, and not only that, speaking to the cooking part, because everyone's so busy, there's a statistic that I read somewhere that 1 in 10 kids graduating high school don't know how to cook. We've taken home ec out of the programs. A lot of the programs don't have home ec, and I know that some of them are trying to get back in. But to take that huge life skill away from children, this is huge.
Absolutely.
So, thank you for joining me. This is great. Hopefully this helped you guys understand that you can exchange certain things in your life and save money while you're actually building nutrients up and building a healthier body.
Attention superheroes! Evil villains are trying to get kids to drink sugar-sweetened beverages, like sports drinks, soda, and juice.
Oh no! Let's go, superheroes! Soon, I have every kid in America full of sugar! Drink, drink, drink!
Fight the urge!
Be a superhero!
Hi, welcome back to Healthy Futures. We're going to continue our segment on healthy eating with a little less cost. And we thought we'd give you some example of how to transition with some of the things that you're used to eating. It's not so much that you don't want to eat better, but sometimes I know that your clients, I'm sure, it's, well, then what do I eat? If you take away my cereal and my bagel and English muffin in the morning or my sandwich for lunch, what can I eat instead?
My fast food breakfast sandwich. Make your own at home.
Let's make your own. So today we thought we'd come up with some examples for you. The first is going to be a couple different breakfast ideas. So Josette, what is over here?
Well, one of my favorites is the ground turkey, and I love to do a turkey egg scramble. We don't have eggs here today, but eggs are such a great and inexpensive way of getting your protein.
And they're not going to change your cholesterol.
No, they won't. Exactly. No,
the Framingham Heart Study did actually come out and prove that it doesn't. It may change the total cholesterol a couple numbers, but the actual LDL and HDL shift to the positives.
Yes. And I'm a firm believer of a yolk a day. Absolutely.
Absolutely. It's great. It's great brain power, I tell my kids.
Yes. And so I love to make turkey scrambles and with vegetables, and kids love it when the vegetables are thrown in there and it's hidden. It's a much easier way. And just to substitute that popular breakfast sandwich that you were getting, you can fix that at home. A lot more inexpensive, that's for sure. We also have the option here of a smoothie if you're on the run. There's a lot of popular smoothies out there that you can buy. Unfortunately, you don't know what they're putting in them.
And
Much
it's
healthier
so
option.
expensive.
Yes, very, very
So
expensive.
this right here, what you just had shown us was about $5, and that would feed your whole family, would feed my
yes.
whole family. And then this here, I think we charged out at, it was about $7. So a smoothie is going to cost usually between, a good one, you know, with real fruit,
Yes,
is
with
about
real-
$4 or something like that.
Yes. And for those of you who have not tried the unsweetened almond milk, it is quite delicious, and it has more calcium than cow's milk. A lot of people go,
It
but then
does.
what am I going to do without my milk? Where do I get my calcium? This has more calcium than cow's milk, so much better option.
And what people don't actually know is that the vitamin D that's put in milk and a lot of the dairy products that has D fortified is D2. And we can't convert T2. So it's not helping us absorb the calcium. Whereas in a product like this, it's normal calcium. It's calcium that you can absorb, and especially if you're watching what D3 you're taking.
I did not know that.
Yes.
I learn something every time with you. Good to know.
So that would be yummy. And you can just do
Yes.
this in a blender. You don't have to have anything special.
No, absolutely not.
All right, so what about lunch? Oh, no, that's dinner.
Lunch.
Sorry about that.
Yes.
Oops.
Oh, that's my water. So lunch, great if you have the grass-fed burgers and some rice with the vegetables. And I love to make it. I'm Cuban, so I love to make my rice and beans. You can still make them healthy style without adding all the fat and things that they do back with my family. And I've cleaned up my black beans and rice, and much better than what I was eating back home. And you can saute the vegetables or just eat them raw. I know my kids prefer to eat them raw sometimes versus sauteing them.
And you can throw that all in one pan together as well.
Oh, absolutely. Yes.
Yeah.
Why not?
The one thing with cans, people are worried about BPAs. Some people have heard about that. What I tell my clients is if you can't buy the BPA free because of cost, it usually is $1 or $2 more, then just take this out and rinse it. Really, really rinse any of the beans, and you're going to get about 50% of the BPAs down.
So just a quick rinse?
Put it in a strainer. If you have 1 can, 3 cans, 10 cans, and you just kind of keep rinsing and turning over. I mean, I think that obviously if you're going to look to save money, you know this, if you buy the bag of beans and
Yes.
soak them overnight, you're going to save a lot of money, and you're not going to
Yes.
have that issue. But for that's what I tell my
Oh,
clients.
okay. Yeah, I rinse my beans, but I know for a lot of, that's just another excuse for people not to do it
To
because
saving
it's too
money.
much work.
I mean, time,
It's too
yes.
much work, and so we love to bust all the excuses out there.
No, it takes less than a minute. Yeah. And then lastly, we have a big dinner here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 chicken drumsticks. A bunch of potatoes. Obviously, this would be
Yes.
more than one meal. And when you mentioned about the raw, that's what my kids are like that as well. And for time, if you don't want to cook, cut up the veggies and serve them raw. And you know what? Dips are not going to make people fat. So I had the low fat this, and you know what? Dressing doesn't make people fat. What they're eating outside of their salad probably is not as nourishing. So if the kids want to dip it in mustard or ranch dressing or ketchup or whatever they want to dip stuff in, let them dip. Helps them to adjust.
That's a good rule of thumb.
Yeah.
That really is, absolutely. I'm a firm believer in it too, and especially if it's a homemade one too, when nothing
Yes.
is processed. We have to clarify that because there is a lot of garbage
There's
out there.
Some garbage in some of the dressing, yes.
And the potatoes, in fact, I just made these last night. I cut them in half and I sprayed them with a little olive oil spray and a fresh garlic on them and baked them for about 30 minutes. And my kids devoured them.
You could do the same thing with the chicken in the same pot.
That's true.
And it would be about 45 instead. And it saves you time and money.
Much better, absolutely.
And not only is this easy, I think easy, but it's also in saving money, but it's also whole food. Can you explain the whole food part?
Yes, I always say if you can pronounce it, if it doesn't have any ingredients that are artificial, it's the actual food. If you can pick it, pluck it, pretty much.
If it grew on the ground
Yes.
before anyone altered it,
Yes.
eat it.
Eat it, absolutely. Yeah,
Excellent.
that's a no-brainer. When people ask me, so what's your diet? And I go, I eat real food. Well, so what do you eat? And I'm baffled by that because people just don't know anymore because they really think what they're getting through a drive-through window is food.
I wanted to do dessert.
Oh, okay.
Remember we talked about tell them your dessert idea, and I'll tell mine about we make banana ice cream. You just put this with a little bit of almond milk in a blender, put it in the freezer, and there you go. It's
How easy
banana.
is that?
And it's whole food without a lot of sugar and without a bunch of ingredients you can't pronounce. But you have an even yummier thing that you do with bananas.
Yes, we slice them and we put a little dab of natural peanut butter on them, and a little bit of we melt some dark chocolate, and then we stick them in the freezer for about 20 minutes. And yeah, those go fast.
But you put them in small portion sizes that are right for servings.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And it's a treat, not a habit.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, my kids not going to whole banana themselves. We're going to slice it up and share it.
Excellent. Wonderful. Thank you for joining us. Welcome back to Healthy Futures. We're going to finish up our segment on healthy eating, saving money with Josette by talking about ways that you can actually save money, sort of tips for saving money while you're out there shopping and purchasing food, healthier food for the families. So starting with shopping around.
I'm a firm believer of definitely getting the bargains, and there's not one store that's going to have all the bargains. So you do a little shopping around, and that's fine. I think there's certain stores where you go get your bulk food, and certain stores where you go get your organic foods, and that's another thing too. What do you buy organic? Not everything has to be organic, no. And you find the specials, and you read the papers and stuff like that. Talk to your girlfriends. I have a lot of girlfriends who, when I moved out here, they taught me you need to go here for that and here for that, and you learn very quickly. Just like you shop around for clothes, you should shop around for your food.
Absolutely. And if someone's going to do a job in your house, you're not going to pick the first person, the first plumber that comes by, or the first contractor. When you talked about the organic, let's just stop right there real quick. And the way that I do my majority of my shopping, but also help my clients out, is to say, sure, if you can afford it and you can find something organic that's a price comparison, comparable, go for it. Otherwise, use that Dirty Dozen Clean 15. And that's something that's online, ewg.org, and you just go to or you can even Google it, Clean 15 Dirty Dozen, and it will give you the foods that have the highest amount of pesticide, even after washing them and peeling them.
Correct.
And so apples are always on the top of the list, so I try to, because my kids eat a lot of apples, and as far as what you're eating, if you're only eating asparagus once a year, then don't worry about the organic, because you're not getting that much from it.
Correct.
Whereas if you're eating apples all the time, then that might be something that you want to spend your money on.
Oh, sure. That's a great idea. And people ask me all the time, what should I do too? And is it okay to buy frozen? And
absolutely.
I said, absolutely. I know I'm on a fixed budget, and I buy frozen, especially those fruits, my berries when they're not in season. I'll get them frozen so I can use them for my smoothies.
Absolutely. And that's a great idea too. When you do have fruit that starts to go bad, don't throw it out. I never throw food out.
No.
So don't throw it out. Put it in the freezer and use it for a smoothie. The veggies that start going bad, even if you made summer squash and it ends up you have like 6 pieces left, or you have beans and you have a small bowl left, and you really can't make a meal with it, nobody's going to eat it. I throw it in the freezer in a big container, and then once a month make a big soup out of it. Costs me nothing.
Great idea. I love that idea, especially when we're suggesting people to buy seasonal produce. That's also a lot more inexpensive. And if you don't know how to cook certain squashes and stuff like that, maybe you make a commitment that week to learn one new recipe.
Right. And getting the kids involved.
Yes.
If you get the kids involved and they get to look up, it's their night, Tuesday night is their night, what do you want to make? And they get to look up the recipe and go shopping and make it with you, it's about 50%, 70% higher that they're actually going to eat it.
That's true.
So you're saving money because you're not throwing the food away, you just wasted time cooking.
That's right. That's right.
And so the other thing with shopping, looking around, is I find a lot of foods that are packaged. And when I say packaged, it might be beans, it might be rice, it might be for those people that have allergies, gluten-free products, or soy products, soy-free, dairy-free, whatever those allergy foods tend to be a little bit more expensive.
Yes.
So you can get all of that online. Many stores online. You can go and Google, whatever it is, and it'll pop up. One in particular that I use is Amazon, and I don't know if I'm supposed to say that, but I do use it a lot because it gets to me in 2 days, and it's a product I'm saving a lot of money on. So it's a way to save money.
Great idea.
And then also shopping in bulk.
Yes, I do that with my oats and with certain foods that I know that I'm going to use pretty much every day. That for me, and it's not a lot of it stuff, but it's definitely a lot more reasonable when you buy in bulk. That's
right.
for sure.
Nuts especially.
Oh, gosh,
Nuts are so much more expensive, but they're so much cheaper. 50% cheaper if you buy them in bulk.
Absolutely. What a difference than when they're portioned individually.
Those little 10-calorie packs.
Yeah. It costs a whole lot more money.
And then also making a menu. I think making a menu helps you to stay on track. It helps you to make sure that you're sticking to actually making the food, and then you're going to spend less money than what should I make tonight, and you're just running through the store. We talked about frozen over the other, but also making sure that any of those things that you mentioned, the portion, whether it be nuts or granola or chicken that's already prepped and you just have to throw it in a salad, all of that is so much more expensive. Make it yourself.
Oh, yes. And it really, just to carve out an hour or two a week. I tell my clients and my students, I go, I'd rather you skip 2 days at the gym instead of working out 7 days a week. Skip 2 days to go to the supermarket and prep your food, which is so much more important.
Or, one of you go and drop off the kids, the other one stay home and eat.
Yes.
You know, do the tag team. Thank you very much for joining me. It was fantastic. We'll see you soon.